So many Jamaicans are rushing back to the US dollar, but what if that's the wrong move? I'm Kalila from Money Media, giving you money news for the Caribbean. Just last week, we told you that Jamaicans moved about $95 billion into US dollar accounts in 2025. That's a 13% increase. But here's the question. Are we putting too many eggs in one basket? Equity trader at JMMB Group, Clive Charlton, thinks we need to start looking beyond the US.
And I think we should start looking at not just saving in US, but saving in other currencies that we expect to be major trading currencies in the future, right? And there are a lot of online facilities.
And by that you mean what? So which currencies do you expect
Any currency.
to be major trading currencies?
Chinese yuan, maybe the Russian ruble, but the euro, which is still strong and in the middle.
Yeah,
right. Look towards Brazil, which has nearly every raw material, is a major manufacturer, is a fairly stable, developing, not undeveloped, but developing emerging market.
Now, if you're paying attention, those are BRICS countries, which have been talking about setting up their own global currency. And Clive pointed out that major changes are already happening in the global economy. Countries like China and Russia are already settling some oil trades in currencies other than the US dollar.
Let's start first and foremost by giving our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kodash, noble honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Stone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim dear person's word, sincerely. Yeah, America is falling. What we just played right now, fair use, fair use. This video is not for monetary purposes, just for edification. What I just played, was a Jamaican financial influencer, Kalila Ernals, and she was playing an interview that she did with an investment, advisor, at one of the local banks here, and he was advising, Jamaicans not to put all their savings in US dollars, because US dollars has, even myself, I have savings in US dollars. It's been the default, for Jamaicans to save in US dollars, because, and for a lot of people across the world, US dollar has been, the default for well over 50 years, to save in, because it's been the what is it called now? The world reserve currency, but America's power is waning. America's, not the country that it used to be. Every empire sees a peak and then it comes crashing down, and the world now is realizing that the empire of America is is at its twilight, is at its sunset, is at its downfall, right? So this is Jeremiah 51 verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul, be not cut off with their iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, right? That made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations have mad. But Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Hope for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto the heavens, and is lifted up even to the skies. Right? There's a news article, that brothers, put out a few times. Let me see if I can find it here. More people leaving the US than coming in. All right, here we go. Yeah. So it says here's the AI overview. For the first time since 1935, the US has experienced a net negative migration, with more people leaving than arising as of 2025 to 2026, driven by high living costs, political polarization, and safety concerns, right? Over 150,000 more people left the US than entered in 2025, right? With trends suggesting that the shift will continue, right? People are forsaking America because they realize that America is not the power that it once was. And America is gaining more and more enemies. They're not as militarily powerful as they used to be. They're not as economically powerful as they used to be. Take, for example, what's going on right now with the conflict against Iran. They thought that they would be able to militarily conquer Iran within a couple of days. It wasn't so. They thought their economic strength could do it. It wasn't so. right? Know what are they doing? They're crying to China to come in and do something. They're crying to the UN to condemn what Iran is doing by blocking the strait, right? They're crying to everybody else, NATO, come and help us. It's you who need the strait to be open when the strait was open in the first place, right? So the America's weakness is on display to the world, right? Isaiah 47 and 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the milestone, grind meal, and cover thy locks, make bare the leg, and cover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Right? Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, I will not meet thee as a man. It's the Lord that's doing this. Because why? Because she have been drunk with the blood of the saints. Right? This is mirrored here in Revelation 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth is lightened with his glory. And this is pretty much word for word with Jeremiah chapter 51, showing you that Jeremiah 51 was not talking about the Babylon back then, right? The ancient Babylonians. It was talking about a Babylon that would exist now in these end times. Because it says what? And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth has waxed rich to the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, America is what is known as a net consumer. They're a huge consumer of goods and services, right? China has been able to become a first world economy by dumping their manufactured goods into America primarily, right? And then now they've spread throughout Europe, throughout Africa, throughout the Americas, South, Central, the Caribbean. The BYD car is a perfect example of that. And that's just the one thing that's just in the news. But almost everything is manufactured in China. China is the world. China has become the world's factory. Yes, that's shifting now, but they've already capitalized on it, right? And America is one of the reasons why they became so rich, because America is just that consumer mentality. Everyone just consumes, right? Everybody's living this delicate life, right? It says, and I have heard another voice saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues, right? So we see people saying, don't save in the US dollar so much right now, right? Save in these other emerging currencies, which are what? All BRICS currencies, right? But we know that they are not going to be the next world superpower, because through the third war, which is the Third World War, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, and then the kingdom of heaven is going to be set up. There's no more beasts to rule after the fourth beast, which we're in the final leg of the fourth beast right now. We're in the toes, right, of the statue that was seen in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, that was explained by the prophet Daniel. There's nothing else after that statue. After that statue is the great stone to destroy the statue, which is Yahushua coming back, and then the kingdom of heaven is going to be set up as in Daniel chapter 7. Right? That's what we're looking forward to. So these BRICS nations are not going to, transition to being the next world superpower. Right? After America goes, every other kingdom is going to fall, right? And the kingdom of heaven is going to be set up, and that's going to be the ruling class, right? The Israelites are going to be the ruling class, right? For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you double unto her, double according to her works in the cup which she has filled to her double, right? How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, right? So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Even though you see that's the same mindset of them that are ruling. Meanwhile, the regular citizens are suffering, right? That's how Rome fell, right? Where there was a great divide, right? Was there a great economic divide in the bit volume between wealthiest and poorest in Roman society, like in the US today. All right, let's try that. Yeah, all right. So it's a yes, there was a massive economic divide between the wealthiest and poor in Roman society. But according to modern historical studies, the income inequality in Rome was actually less severe than in the US today. So it was even less severe, right? While Roman elite control a vast portion of the wealth, the top 1% in modern United States hold significantly larger share of total wealth than their counterparts did in Rome, right? Does this lead to the fall of an empire? Let's see what it says. Historians generally agree that while economic inequality really causes an empire to fall by itself, it creates the fragility that allows other shocks like invasions or plague to become fatal. In Rome, the wealth cap acted as a force multiplier for collapse in several ways. Erosion of the middle class, and people have been, that's been all over the news. There's no more middle class. There's just upper class and lower class. It's either you're good or you're suffering. And the ones that are good are far fewer than the ones that are suffering, right? Tax evasion by the elites, we've seen that now, political paralysis and corruption. So, yeah, America is done, right? It's done. Verse 8, Revelation 18, verse 8. Therefore, her place coming one day, death, mourning, and famine, right? And she shall be utterly what? Burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh that judgeth her. But that burning is going to be thermonuclear fire, right? So hopefully, this lesson was short and edifying to the point. Till next time, shalom.